Welcome, I'm Charles Brock. When I first started woodworking, I was a flatboarder, but then I saw the beautiful work of Sam Maloof, and it inspired me to become a sculptured furniture maker. Let's go! We're going to add arms to this chair. Here's an arm that I did for a cherry chair. As you see, it doesn't really match that well, but it's got a real sweep from the arm stem to the top of the front leg stem, or pedestal as I like to call it. It just kind of sits on a little pedestal there very delicately and nicely. But we want to get that sweep. Now, here's a piece of stock that we're going to make an arm out of. And if you just sit it on top of the pedestal here, you see that it doesn't have a sweep to it. So how do we get that sweep? Well, what we do is we're going to cut 6 degrees off the front bottom of the board so that it can sit at 6 degrees right here and flare out toward the top of the arm stem. And then when we cut the arm, it'll have that nice sweep. So let's get started, and I'm going to mark it out so that we can cut off our 6 degrees. I have the pattern here, and I have some stock for a right arm. All right, so since this is a right arm, I've placed an X back here because that is where the back of the arm is going to hit the back leg arm stem. Now, also place an R so you can know which one is which, and this is the right arm. And this is the top of the board. Underneath, I've backed up 5 inches, and that is where we're going to make a 6-degree bevel on the bottom of the board to get that sweep that we wanted. And now we've got to lay out that 6 degrees. So I've set my sliding bevel to 6 degrees, and we'll draw a line. I'm going to take it to the bandsaw and use our 6-degree jig again to cut that bevel. Let's go do it now. To make that 6-degree cut on the bottom front of the arm stock, we've got this line here that we drew at the bench, and here's the blade. We have those in alignment. We've got the 6-degree jig up against the fence, the bandsaw fence, and we've got a clamp on it holding it in place so that we can just push the jig through the bandsaw and make the cut. Now, very important is a stop block that we have on the front here. So when we are cutting the second arm, all we have to do is leave the fence in place, leave the stop block in place, and move the stock up against it, and then push it through, and both will be cut the same. All right, I've got the board clamped to that 6-degree flat that we have on the bottom of the arm stock. And it's clamped so that it's sitting flat on top of the front leg. And notice, this is very important. The board is running to the inside of the back leg arm stem. Very important. All right, that allows me to just copy this angle. So I'm going to copy this angle right here. I've got something flat against it. I'm using a scraper that is a nice flat plane, and I can push it over against the arm stock and sit it flat against the arm stem, and I can make a mark. So that mark is just a copy of that angle. This is very important. I'm going to take the stock off, and I want to copy this angle with my sliding bevel. Now just take your sliding bevel and slide it up here and move the blade until you got it in line with the line that you made. All right, now I've got the angle loaded up here. I can take it to the table saw and I can cut this angle. Let me show you how. I have my sliding bevel set at an acute angle, which is less than 90 degrees. And actually, I've already set it right here against the body of the saw blade and tightened it up. And now I'm almost ready to make the cut. I've just got to load my arm blank in there. Well, the arm blank, this is the right arm, and I've got an X back here where the arm will intersect with the arm stem on the back leg. Okay, now that needs to go to the inside, and here are my lines of cut right here. I'm just going to use those for orientation. So this line matches up with my line of cut that I've put on the table saw. So I can move it over. I can see that my line of cut is just right. I've got the X on the inside. This is the bottom of the board. I'm ready to cut. Let's go. And so now it's time to prove that you're a real strong individual. Snapped it off. Hey, that's pretty good. Put that aside. Now let's go to the chair and see if it fits. It's a really great fit. Now, how do we know? Right here at the pedestal, it is sitting just as flat as it can be. Now, back here in the back, right here is a point of alignment. Right there is a point of alignment. We don't want it to shift any further over than that. And it's sitting flat against the arm stem. So we're gonna make a couple of marks here just to know how to put it back in the same place. And I think this is just going to be a great fit. Now, before you move it, since everything fits well, I'm going to get right up under here and I'm going to transfer this position to the bottom of the arm stock. So I will be able to drill my dowel hole in the right place. So I am marking it right now on the bottom of the arm. This is a good fit. We've identified the placement for the hole. Now we need to further identify exactly where it goes. Now, this is a change. In the earlier video, the original video, what we did was to use a dowel center. But a dowel center, because the fact that you have to give it a whack to make it work, was not the best way. It did work, but it wasn't as perfect as this is. All right, so what I've got is a compass, and if I divide it like to 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock, in other words, kind of into fourths here, then I can make 4 lines, and that gives me a space here right in the middle. There's 4 little arcs, and as long as I place this in the center and give it a good whack, all right, that's exactly where we need to drill our 1/2-inch hole. Now, I really wouldn't make that hole for the dowel any more than about 3/4 to 7/8 of an inch deep. And to get it in the right place, the old dowel is just perfect for this. We've got a 1/2-inch bit, and so if I line it up here and use that 6 degrees that we made so that I've got the right angle, then all I need to do is to put the dowel down, find the 1/2-inch hole, and I'll insert my drill bit, let it slide down into place, and now all right, now let me show you something about dowels. What I do is I go to the big box store and I buy a 1/2-inch diameter dowel. I usually get the oak. Don't get whatever whitewood is. Nobody really knows what that is, but this is nice and tough, and it can withstand the rigors of being a part of your chair forever. I've got a doweling plate here, and what it does is it trims it. Now this dowel has been in the store, on its way to the store. Just going to drive it through the plate. Now it's trimmed it down, as you can see, to a final 1/2-inch. It's trued it to a 1/2-inch size. And this is a must so that it can fit in this 1/2-inch hole. It's funny that everybody's 1/2-inch is just a little bit different. Now I'm going to take this other plate, which is a fluting plate, and it has something like a pencil sharpener right here. Now I'm going to chamfer the end of it so that it'll have a little angle all the way around it. So here I am chamfering right there. And the reason for that is so that there'll be a place for the glue to go in the hole. Everything has a reason. All right, now I'm going to drive it through the 1/2-inch hole, and I'm going to flute it. In other words, I'm going to put these little lines all the way down the side. But I got to find it first. It's down there somewhere. Be back in just a second. We've got it fluted. You might be able to see those. That's where the glue should go. If you don't flute it, then it might be when you drive it in and you put glue in it that you just kind of explode the piece. And I don't think you want to do that. All right, this one's ready to go. So put it in the hole, tap it in. Maybe a little long, but we'll find out. Now let's put it on the chair and we'll test it. I've got the fluted, prepared 1/2-inch dowel in the hole. Now, let's see if everything lines up just like we want it to. Yeah, that's good. That's nice and flat. This is sitting exactly where it's supposed to. It's against the arm stem. Wow. Now, next thing, let's take our pattern, our top profile, and we're going to put it on the bottom of the arm, even though it's the top profile. Lay that out and I'll show you how. Now for the right arm, we want to put this outline in place so we can take it to the bandsaw and cut it. But you don't do this from the top. Even though it's the top profile, we're going to lay it out from the bottom and you'll see why. So, right back here is the back of our arm, where it's going to run into the arm stem. Now, to kind of simulate the arm stem, let's do this. Take a square, an adjustable square, and I'm going to put it right up against the top edge back here, and then I'm going to run the pattern up against it right there. That's going to be one point of contact. And then right here on the outermost edge of our circle that we made, I'm going to set the inside of the arm right there. And when I do that, in those two places, I can draw the arm. But it's important to get it into those two places. Now I can go to the bandsaw and cut it out. Now we're going to lay out the side profile so it'll have that nice sweep that makes it so beautiful. All right, now take the side profile pattern and make sure you line it up back here and right here. And make sure that this flat part of the pedestal right here covers where the hole is. So I'm going to line it there and up here, and it's giving us a really nice little sweep. and I'm going to mark it out. So I'm going to go to the bandsaw, and I'm going to cut this out right here, and I'm going to make that cut. And I'm just going to, since I've got a 1/2-inch blade on the bandsaw, I'm just going to cut across here. I'm not going to bother with that at all because the front needs to all be sculpted. I'm not going to bother with this back here. So let's go to the bandsaw and we'll cut it out. All right, now we're ready to shape the arm. Go to the shaping video, the chapter on the arm, and you can learn to shape it. This is really coming out good. Now I got to do the other one.